you don't hate football. You don't hate the women that are playing it. You don't hate these players. You hate other people who are jumping on the bandwagon.
I hate how it's been pushed.
Those people, I hate them too now.
I hate them too because
these people are misinformers. They are same as COVID deniers. Like,
I bought a car the other day, right?
Congrats.
And they told, I bought it off these two chicks, right? They don't look like they've played a sport in their life, right? They said they've never watched soccer in their life or football in their life, but they went down to the pub to watch it. Bro, if you go to your Insta feed, bro, I see stories from girls who have never, ever, ever watched a soccer game in their life going to the stadium and watching it.
What's wrong with that, bro?
There's nothing inherently wrong with it. I'm just
you
saying...
just think it's superficial.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's superficial.
If it's superficial, next week you're gonna find out no one's gonna be interested.
Yeah,
they're gonna forget.
I'm assuming everyone's gonna forget. Like women's soccer will have its shine, and they actually brought in a shitload of revenue. And I don't think they've changed the prize money, which is pretty much criminal. Yeah, like they should change the prize money to reflect the amount of revenue they're getting.
What, the contract's already done,
the contract's already stayed. They didn't expect this much viewership, but it happened. People who are into women's soccer would love it. Yeah, they would obviously love it because now they have people to talk to. And it's like it's been the biggest thing in the nation. Half of Australia watched it on TV. That didn't even count live people watching it live. It didn't count people watching it live on the big screens in those parks and stuff.
Satellite, stuff.
Half of Australia, 11 million people were watching it on TV, which is insane. That's crazy. That's unprecedented. Yeah, it broke records. Yeah, that's insane, right? But the same thing wouldn't happen for any other sports team ever.
Because they suck, bro. No one watches cricket or whatever other sports there are. Football is just so big, bro.
I think cricket as a sport's dying because it's been behind paid viewership. Like cricket is behind Foxtel for the longest time, Kayo now. Yeah. Football has always been, at least World Cup's always been free to it. Yeah. Like if it was something premium, like I don't know if women have A-League or whatever, do they?
Yeah, women's A-League. Yeah.
Like I've never heard of that. Like I don't know this was a thing until
half of these players for the team.
Until you mentioned it today. Yeah. So for me, if it's behind TV,
behind a paywall,
I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. Like I'm happy they got their chance to shine, and I hope that in terms of Instagram followers and stuff, like I'm sure they would have exploded in terms of their following. And like Sam Kerr's a household name.
She was always a household name. That's the thing.
No, she wasn't, bro.
She was on FIFA cover. Like which other player you tell me he was on FIFA cover?
On which FIFA cover?
FIFA 23.
Oh like shit, was she?
She was, bro. Like
she is more popular than some of our Socceroos.
Like she plays for Chelsea. Like, I know Sam Kerr because of Chelsea. She plays for Chelsea. Yeah. But like she was on FIFA 23, definitely.
No, but she is like let's say she is like LeBron James playing on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like rest of her team, no one knows. But her, everyone knows.
But I think a lot of people now know a lot of the, at least, Matildas players.
Names, at least, yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people are following them on Insta now, and hopefully they get, like, bigger sponsors and stuff like that because of that. But my annoyance is just of the superficiality of it.
We have a gripe with one of our friends, and he shared an Instagram reel that a player from England...
It wasn't a reel, it was a post.
It was a post that said a player from England national...
I think it was Chloe Kelly.
Could be. Not scored. Kicked a ball faster than a Premier League player last season.
And than any Premier League shot last season, she kicked the ball faster on her penalty. Right? You watch the shot, it's not overly like fast. It just looks like a...
Which is fine. Like, you know, it's not about looking at the shot, whatever. But like...
It's the logic of it.
It's the logic of it. And to deny that was just to deny women's right. Like, I just said, like, this is nonsense. Yeah.
And then you were called a misogynist.
The problem is it was an outright lie. It was outright misinformation from the news. And obviously it seems fake like news. A massive achievement because, you know, a girl out kicking any of the EPL, like EPL is the biggest league in soccer, right?
Yeah, easy.
So having a woman outperform men in a very important skill in soccer is insane. Yeah. Like that's crazy. So all the news outlets were pushing the same story. Yeah. Obviously, no one fact checked. If you do a little bit of research and if you have a little bit of logic, you'll realize that it's not true at all.
So you had to literally open the article and it just said like what metrics did they use to deduce that kicking speed.
And it was like nonsensical. Yeah.
It was nonsensical.
Yeah. Like obviously they're like sensationalizing, and that's what I guess you have an issue. And most people would have an issue with.
I don't think I have issues with like female players more than the guys that were like, you know, propping those facts.
Yeah, people who like using this as an opportunity to come across as like pro-feminism.
Bro, I hate those people, bro.
I'm like, just watch the game, bro. Like, why do you have to have an agenda with watching a game?
Yeah, and I'm fine if you try and, get your friends involved and you're trying to grow the sport or whatever.
Do you think guys are doing it just to appease girls they're with or like attract girls they're with or something?
Oh, definitely some would be.
Yeah.
But I don't think the large majority are.
Or what do you think the reason is behind them like superficially getting involved?
I think it's just all the hype that's been generated.
Like it's the talk. We do live in a hype-beast culture, bro. What?
You said it's their critical thinking.
Yeah, lack of critical thinking also. But like I think it's the hype-beast culture we live in. Everyone tends to just jump on the bandwagon. If a music artist all of a sudden pops up, everyone just claims, "Oh, I heard him first." Yeah, and they just discovered him last week.
He's from her dad's side of family.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's what I kind of have an issue with, because there's so many like just girls or like people out there at the moment that are like, oh yeah, they should have equal pay, this, that, the other. And I'm like,
have you had any girls that have said the same thing? Because
yes, bro. Like every other girl says this, like, oh, they should definitely have equal pay, Matildas to like other Socceroos.
I saw an article yesterday that was like, I think it was the article that was saying they expected $500 million in revenue for the FIFA World Cup for women's, and it's actually about to generate around 900 million, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, they've almost doubled their projections.
Yeah.
And then she said, the women get paid X amount. Obviously, it's an increase because they've had an increase from last. I think like a few years ago, they didn't get paid even at all for women or something. Like it was ridiculous, but. She was like, it's increased X amount, which is really good, but it's nowhere near the likes of what Mbappe is getting paid and, Cristiano Ronaldo is getting paid.
True,
yeah.
Like,
shut the hell up. And it's like, it's going to be a long way. It's going to be a long way before there's parity in the league.
This is what I hate. Like,
it's never going to be disparity, bro. Like,
this is what I hate. When they like start comparing women's soccer to men's soccer, well, you can't compare it on skill. You can't compare it on viewership.
Like women's national best US team was US national team.
Yeah.
At least until 2018, I think.
Yeah.
They lost to under 15. So
same with the Matildas. The Matildas a few years ago, I think 5 years ago, lost to the under 16 Newcastle Jets, bro. Like
that's what I have an issue with. Like you should stop compare women's soccer to itself. Like okay, 4 years ago we were here.
Don't compare it to Mbappe. Compare it to some like A-League players, then maybe it's good.
No, but seriously, compare it like Chloe Kelly, for example. That's an amazing achievement relative to women. Right? And that can't be downplayed.
Yeah.
The problem is when you start trying to compare it to men and start putting in
men down,
literally,
then his toxic masculinity comes through.
Yeah.
Literally downright lying to try and put her skills above men.
Yeah.
That's when it's an issue.
Yeah.
Like it's an amazing achievement in of itself. Why do you have to bring men into it?
Yeah.
And again, like
this is what happens. Like, luckily for us, like the Socceroos, like at least not the Socceroos, sorry, the Matildas. None of them are like. You don't like hate them or like they're not like self-sabotaging or they're not insufferable. When they speak, they're genuinely like, oh yeah, we would like to have more money. Who wouldn't? Type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like the US women's soccer team. That's what most people have trouble with because they go out of their way as if like their rights have been snatched away from them. They're being discriminated against and stuff like this. And especially that one purple-haired one.
It's a gun control issue.
What? It's her like when they post their arguments. It's just the most nonsensical stuff like, okay, we generated this much in revenue, so we get a cut. What they're expecting as a cut is like 50% of the revenue. Men don't even get that, bro.
I looked up the revenue differences between the Women's World Cup and the Men's World Cup last year. The Women's World Cup, as I said, was expected to generate $500 million in revenue and $900 million in revenue. The winning team gets...
Clear yourself, like 500 or 900?
They were meant to generate 500 projected, but they generated 900. Yeah.
In actual, they've generated about 900. I've put the figures up. I think it was the winning team gets 10 million AUD. We're talking in Australian dollars right now. So the winning team gets 10 million in AUD, which is about, I think it was 1.4%. Oh, no, 0.7%, I think it was.
Of the revenue.
Of the overall revenue.
Yeah.
And the men get... they generated 1.5 billion in Qatar last year.
Only.
For the World Cup. Yeah, I was surprised it wasn't like women have actually done really well to generate that much money.
Bro, that's like very close, bro. It's like 600 million off. Yeah.
And the men got, I think 40 million. The winning team got around.
Yeah.
40
Double check these figures, please.
I trust him, bro. He fact checked, bro.
I had a good look, bro. I even converted from USD to AUD and everything.
Women's World Cup made 6 billion. Sorry, men's made 6 billion.
6 billion.
Yep. One woman made 131 million.
This is probably last times, bro.
This is done on 31st July.
Done like a couple weeks ago.
So
this is why he was angry, bro. He's like, why were women so close to us, bro?
Honestly, it was surprising. Because when you say 66%, 900 million versus 1.5 billion.
I guess if it was that close, we would have heard more about it.
We would have heard more.
Yeah,
they would have just been jumping down.
This would have been the biggest news ever.
Yeah.
But then as a percentage, if you take the 6 billion number, then the men would be paid less as a percentage of the revenue than women.
130 million versus 6 billion is a big disparity.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's USD as well.
This is news.com.au, it's probably AUD, who knows, but
this is a pretty stupid website.
But it's good to pull it out.
My point is though that the men as a percentage would get paid either roughly the same or even less so than what the women are getting paid.
Yeah.
And then the disparity is massive if you look at basketball, where the WNBA actually loses $10 million a year. They're not even a profitable company.
And so what's the argument for WNBA being a sport still? Like,
just like for social reasons.
For the sake of social agenda.
Yeah.
Like if
so WNBA ladies recognize this opportunity given it to them rather than them demanding.
No, I don't think so.
Some of them might. Most of them do realize the disparity. There's some that are just outspoken. They just want to get their name out there. They do say stuff.
That's so dumb because the NBA, the men's league, is actually what's propping up the WNBA. Otherwise, they're obviously not surviving.
It's the same, like
in a silo.
This is the FIFA World Cup is in a sort of a silo of itself because it's a world event. FIFA runs it, blah blah blah, good governance. None of these leagues, like the women's league in the UK or like the W League over here, whatever it's called, none of them will ever like generate that much interest to warrant like, you know, similar pay.
Because it's a subclub product, bro.
Yeah, club payments. And there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. It is a product. Like it's a league. They're selling it to people, and it's not as good as the men's league is. Obviously,
why does everyone watch NBA and not NBL? Even though the disparity in skill is not as exaggerated as NBA and WNBA.
Nah, bro, there's too many white people in Australia. So like it is athletically, there's a lot of disparity.
But the revenue difference would be insane between them. Yeah, I would wager even WNBA might have more revenue than NBL. I don't know.
That'll be embarrassing.
Because NBL, I'm sure, don't pay $500K on average, which I think they do in WNBA.
200K on average.
Yeah, it'd probably be around that much. Yeah. So that's a major point. And
200K is a good salary if you think about it.
Yeah, it's
for a limited career.
For basketball.
But these are like top echelon athletes, not just like us working 95 hours.
And then you've got to ask the feminists, okay, if you know they're not getting.
Well, you can't ask feminists anything, bro. They don't give you an answer.
Well, you got to tell them, go watch a game, bro.
Say less, bro.
The feminist is always the fat chick with purple hair that doesn't care for sports. And that's why they don't get equal pay, bro, because they're not the ones watching the games.
This is what I'll tell, like, people who complain about, you know, that men don't tune into. Yeah. There's actually proper statistics. Research has been done. Statistically, men are more likely to watch female sports than females are.
I remember even in the Basketball World Cup, I was watching the women's team and I actually enjoyed it.
Cock.
This was several years ago. I don't really watch it as much, but I used to watch the women's.
You don't have to explain yourself, bro.
Huh?
You don't have to explain.
I used to watch women's games back then, and I'd wager like very, very few females would be watching those games.
Yeah, it's like statistically proven that like men watch female sports more than females do.
And I'd hope at least with the Matildas that all this superficial increase in viewership actually some people actually stick.
Genuine
so
and
the
watch
people
it.
I saw on Insta watching live games, watching it on TV, they stick around and watch, you know, the next World Cup or whatever
other
other
leagues. What would they be contributing? That's the thing. Like now, there's a 4-year gap. Maybe there is some Euros or something for ladies, but like there's no recurring.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like
that's why they will need to shift that focus onto their individual leagues and stuff, and that's much harder.
Yeah, and people aren't going to do that for sure.
Matildas were playing. A lot of them were playing locally.
No, a couple of like our top ones are like playing Barcelona, Chelsea, obviously, and
but like we had a fair bit of local representation, and I've never heard of ladies.
But this is what happens. Like, it's not they're not. We are not the target market for them. It's like young kids who are like 9, 10, blah blah blah. If they capture girls and boys, like, but like if they capture their attention, like when we fell in love with our sports teams, I was like 10. I fell in love with a sports player. And then I eventually
and then you started growing up,
grow up into it. That's how I started watching it. Now it's very hard for me to pick up a new sport and fall in love with another team. Yeah. So they're targeting like 9, 10-year-old kids who are just starting watching sports or whatever. That's their target market. So eventually, those kids will like translate into, not for this generation, maybe for the next generation, as like people who will pay to come to watch games and blah blah blah, all of this stuff. So the sort of like the profit won't be immediate, but down the line they've kind of planted the seed.
Playing soccer in Australia, because I only played when I was older.
It's actually much better here.
It's a big sport. It's a big sport here.
It's a big sport.
No, as in like you got to pay to play, or
nah, football is like pretty decent. Like it's not like
no, it's
tennis.
It's expensive to play in like comps and stuff. Like it would.
No, if you play for your local team, I'm pretty sure you just sign up.
No, bro, you gotta pay, bro. You gotta pay for $500. No, yeah, it's a couple hundred at least. Pretty sure it's decent.
But it's not like tennis, bro. Tennis you have to like book out a court.
No, but like I'm talking from like EPL.
But that's more. That's with every sport.
In England, like you don't have to pay.
No, but school would pretty much be free. It would be like $80 or $100
school.
Like if you play for the school team.
This is another issue. My school didn't have a soccer team, so we didn't play.
Well, you went to a creative arts high school, bro. That's why
it could be, but
yeah,
like
that's where all the feminists are.
But like the schools would have teams that you.
Yeah, my school did.
Pretty much every school has a team usually.
Yeah.
Sure, I missed out then.
Yeah.
It had a boys team for soccer, right?
No, it was just we used just to play against once a year against other teams.
Bro, what a depressing school you went to, bro. No wonder you turned out like this, bro.
What did he say? I missed out.
Nothing, bro.
No worried, bro.
But like speaking of like, we play in a comp.
Yeah.
Mixed comp.
Yeah.
I believe it's actually like there should be a year or two where you play as a kid, that you play with like females, or like a boys team plays with a girls team together or whatever.
Yeah.
It actually benefits because that's what happened with me.
So the skill disparity can be highlighted.
No, no joke. No joke. Like exactly that, for that reason. You just pick up on this as a kid.
But then you are writing of people's development is just based on the disparity.
No, but like do you mean when you're a teenager, or are you talking about preteen?
When I did, I was like 10, 11, 12 in that age.
There would be a big difference.
That's a good age then.
There isn't a big difference, but like naturally then you see that progression.
Oh, okay.
And it becomes apparent to you. Then you don't have to go hearing feminists say like, oh no, it's actually equal or whatever.
Oh no, Chloe Kelly kicked faster than any EPL.
Yeah. Then you don't get these idiots, bro. So like,
come on, bro.
So like we play a mixed comp.
Yeah.
We know like there is a disparity physically.
Yeah.
But like it is still fun. Like it is enjoyable to play in those comps and stuff.
You can finally be decent at football.
Who, me? Yeah, against females especially. Like against males, I'm just running out of breath, bro, most of the time. So like, yeah, it does help in that sense. But you know Megan Rapione, the purple hair one.
Yep.
In US,
people call her far worse things actually. Purple hair, B word. That's what they call her, right? So she is now promoting that transgender males that have transitioned to
mashallah,
female. Males that are converted to female.
For purposes of soccer, or
they should be allowed to play. Obviously, she's retiring now, so it's easy for her to just say
again,
this.
I don't understand this argument from a feminist side. Why are you letting men dominate your sports?
So USA number one.
Or maybe that's what she realizes. Like all these other teams are beating us. Like we need transgender athletes to support us, bro.
You're kicking all the females' opportunities and chances of becoming the best by having men who are biologically better.
Yeah.
They physically stand taller, phically have longer limbs.
But she timed it well, because she's about to retire.
Yeah, she's about to retire. So
doesn't matter for her.
Like, it's not gonna affect. It's not gonna pass through anyways. Doesn't really matter.
Well, you never know now, bro. They might pass it. Who knows?
No, I don't think surely not internationally.
Government bodies wouldn't allow it. Like,
I think if they did, it would still be a long time before they did.
Yeah, the problem is government bodies actually don't have that much control over sports, bro.
Does Olympics allow these people?
Yeah, remember like there was that weightlifter. From New Zealand. She was a man before, converted.
Was she?
Transition.
Is there any set of time like you gotta be ladies for like X amount of time before you can?
No, there's testosterone limits and stuff.
But again,
that still doesn't change limb lengths and
we've discussed this before. We know this.
Yeah, what about muscle fibers? Like if you were a guy, you go on estrogen therapy, get your test off. Will your muscle fibers reduce to?
I think they would
atrophy too.
Not to a level where it'll be compared to other females.
Yeah, like would always be a bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. You need research for it. I don't know.
I was trying to think. What is a sport where like men and women can compete?
Fencing,
maybe.
Actually, yeah. Also, what's the shooting one in the Olympics? You shoot.
I thought that was fencing, bro.
No. You shoot
the
the discs
like where you just
archery.
Archery is one. Yeah.
Are you talking about the?
Yeah, that one.
You have like the needle-like sword, and you.
Nah, like men will be fast and stuff.
Bro.
In there.
I think this is where skills could be.
No, but reflexes I don't think differ that much between genders.
I think reflex will be.
I think reflexes are similar.
Not with female goalkeepers, bro.
Are the goals actually smaller for females?
That's what I was wondering. It's not.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah. So like female goalkeepers, when they dive, it's not like obviously they don't cover as much. So like they kind of like with like Courtois. How tall is he? Like 6'6". But when he dives, like it's like a swan. He like covers half the goal. With women, like they have to take a couple of steps. And when they dive, they're not as high. So, like, they don't cover as much of the goal. So, there should be more goals scored because the goalkeeper can't cover the whole goal in female soccer.
I think they were doing calculations on Chloe Kelly's shot and how fast it is and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And if she just kicks as hard as she can, like, at her speed to, like, the side, that it's literally unstoppable. Like, they can't react quick enough to actually reach the ball. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm guessing she obviously knows it. So she probably just runs up and tries to smash it as hard as she can, as accurately as she can.
Bro, but that's the most nerve-wracking thing when, like, specifically talking about penalty kicks, bro. That will be the most, like, I would crap my pants type of thing. Like, in front of 70,000 people to score a penalty, and if you miss, like, you're potentially out. Yeah. That will be the most nerve-wracking sport moment.
And it feels so shit if you're on the shit end of it where you lose.
I didn't feel bad for the French, obviously, but, like, when the Matildas won, I was like... This is huge. Like we got through such nerve-wracking thing.
I didn't watch that game. I only watched the semis, unfortunately, because I was expecting some time off.
He just wanted to rant for no reason. Like I actually watched it, and I was like, I wasn't like, all like amazed by what their skill was, but I wasn't like, oh, this isn't bad to watch. Like I can watch other games for it. It's not like. Obviously, it's they're not running as fast or whatever.
If it wasn't Matildas playing, it wasn't Australia playing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch like.
You wouldn't have tuned in for this game.
Nah, like obviously, there's a reason why I watched it. Same reason why I watch EPL. I don't watch every game. I watch because Chelsea's playing.
But sometimes sure, that's a fair.
I don't watch like every other EPL game anyway. So if I have a vested interest, then I tune in. Same with Matildas. I had vested interest, so I tuned in. Doesn't matter if they suck or not.
I don't know how you guys tune into EPL because the games are at like 3:30 and ridiculous. Like there was a game on Sunday, right, at 3:30 a.m.
Yeah, bro.
Like how do you guys do that, bro?
I don't do it anymore. I've given up.
I've given up as well. To be
even
honest.
basketball because it's in the afternoon. I rarely ever watch now. Like I pretty much never tune in. I just watch highlights.
When I was in university, bro, I had nothing to like do. So like 1:30, 2:30, just wake up and watch all these games. Yeah.
With basketball in uni, bro, I just sit in like somewhere, even a lecture, I don't care, and I just watch it.
Yeah, a lot of sleepless nights for no reason, bro, because most of these seasons have been disappointing. But that's what like makes the victory so sweet, because like I stayed up all these nights, did nothing,
slogged through the shit times,
and then the one time we did something amazing, like it meant something. So yeah, I guess like for people who are like that into like women's soccer as well, this was a big moment for them.
Yeah,
because they were like, all these years no one's been watching. All of a sudden we have this interest now. So yeah, I guess what did you say? Congratulations for finishing fourth. It is a big achievement. 900 million
revenue.
But they see none of it, bro.
No,
you want a bit of the cut, don't you?
Sorry?
You want a bit of the cut, don't you?
I didn't do anything. I didn't even support.
No, you watched one game, you said.
I did.
So for that effort, you want a bit of the cut. Anyway, do we have any concluding thoughts for...
I think we gotta talk good about them too, bro.
We did. We just hate feminists. That's what we discussed, bro. Feminists and men.
I think we gotta edit it properly just because the starting was too much hate.
No, I think
I think I iterated. I'll reiterate that.
I genuinely thought this guy was gonna come and just start shouting like misogynistic stuff.
No, bro, I'm not a misogynist, bro.
No, the way you posed it, I'm just gonna come here and rant. I was like, what else do you rant about?
I did rant, bro.
I thought this was going to be like a feminist style rant. But you guys
acknowledged women's football is a subpar product compared to men's football?
Compared, yes, obviously, bro.
Obviously.
Sure. Okay.
Do you want to fight with this now?
I don't agree with this. But
why don't you agree? Bro, this guy's talking shit, bro.
Let's beat him up off the podcast, bro, for this opinion.
Sure.
Anyway, congratulations to the Matildas. Hopefully the Socceroos do something for the next World Cup. It will be nice to see... it will be nice for me to support something in the men's World Cup.
I feel like the Socceroos are too shit relative to the other countries.
I think there's no saving them now.
Why?
Like, do you know any Socceroo player right now?
Currently, nah, bro. It's all the old ones.
Aaron Moyes still a player?
Aaron Moyes.
Yeah, he's like a bench player though.
Keanu made it as well, right? He was a bench player. Keanu Bacchus.
I know Abob, the Sudanese guy. Yeah, there's a couple of them that were
the Newcastle guy, cool. I know him.
Yeah,
and the coach, Spurs guy.
He's not our coach, bro.
But he is Australian. This is the only thing.
Yeah, but he's not the Socceroos coach. Yeah. Shout out to the Matildas. Shout out to the Socceroos. Inshallah, one day we win this World Cup.
Inshallah.
I kind of wish we went to a game though. Like I did ask.
We should have gone live.
Yeah, we should have gone. Anyway, this has been another episode of Trash Talk Experience. We are in full support of female footballers. Peace.